If the aim of the business you're running is to make money, please listen keenly. You have to constantly go back to the 7 P's formula. What are the 7 P's of marketing? Number 1 would be product. I'll go through them real fast. I think we discussed product the last time. You have to constantly, every quarter, revisit if your product is actually relevant in the market. If you are struggling with sales, often, almost 80%, there's a chance that your product is not something people need. So be the kind of entrepreneur that is flexible about the means, right? But very adamant about the goal. So don't be the person that clings onto your idea because it's what naturally human beings were biased to cling on what we started with. Open up your mind. If your product is or service is not selling in the market, you have to revisit. You have to look at what is causing that issue between you and the market you're trying to get to. So product is almost self-explanatory. 2 would be your prices. Sometimes you might think you have the best price in the market. The problem is you've probably not researched around. You've not figured out if the market you are in can actually accommodate to your prices. So pricing is something you have to be intentional about, and it takes a lot of research to land a good pricing that actually sells. You want to give your client the best value possible in the market. So don't let your competition beat you at pricing when it's something you could have worked around. Here's the reality. At the end of the day, you have your target market. So it's not a matter of being cheaper or being more expensive. You know who you're targeting in the market. The only research you need to figure out if the client you're targeting has the ability to fork that amount for that particular service you're offering. If your pricing is viable in the market, then well and good. But if you need to reiterate your pricing, never be scared to go back to the drawing board and figure out if your pricing is actually right for the market. Number 3 is my favorite, promotion. You have to constantly figure out how you're promoting your product or service in the market. Like, this is something you can't ignore. How are you reaching your market? You have to be intentional about that. Because here is the thing, nobody else is going to promote your services for you. The more attention you focus on promotion, the better your sales is gonna happen. So promotion is all the ways in which you can sell your product or service. You have to figure out, how could I promote this? And it's also an area that you constantly have to look at how you're promoting things, because the truth is, at the end of the day, whatever marketing you're currently using might not be viable, I promise you, tomorrow. Whatever is working for you right now in the market, because the market changes very rapidly, it might not be viable tomorrow. So you have to figure out exactly if the promotion you're currently using is giving you the best results. And the best way to go about this, because I get consulted a lot with businesses often, the best way to go about this is to try a whole variety of promotions, and then you pick what is working better in the moment. So for example, if you go the digital ads avenue, right, you have to figure out which ads are people responding to better. So this is something you have to constantly reiterate until you find out what particular type of, let's say, advertisement is resonating with your target audience emotionally, and then you double down on that. So promotion is this interesting facet in the 7 P's that can either make you or break you. If you can promote your product well, I promise you won't struggle with your sales. But it's something you have to constantly go back in the market and figure out which ones are working, and you don't get comfortable, because today there's a way in which you can be promoting your product and it can work, and then tomorrow it can't work. We've seen this change when people transitioned from mainstream media to digital media. Right now, where are the eyeballs? On digital. So you might be spending a lot of chunk on mainstream. But if your target market is late millennial or Gen Z, then you're losing money in the mainstream lens. So promotion is how you figure out, how do I constantly promote my product or service, and you become intentional about it. 4th would be packaging, and I love this part because most entrepreneurs ignore packaging. I need to understand that human psychology is very biased. The very first few seconds determines the impression a client might have of your product or service. And most people think packaging is just the wrappers that you use. Packaging is everything that has to do with your company, that has to do with your product, that has to do with your service. For example, if you come to the office, the reception area can tell a lot about how you package yourself. That shop you're selling in is telling a lot about how you package yourself. Your product as the client unwraps tells a lot about how they should vision you. So packaging is this wholesome entity in marketing that I love so much because it goes way deeper than most people assume. It is not just how you wrap your products. Packaging is 360 degree. Every single interaction that the client has with your product or service, how is that packaging looking like, including your employees? How do they look like? How do they present themselves? You know, what are the language they're using? You know, what is their presentation like? So packaging is wholesome. It's 360. It's everything. Don't ignore the power of packaging yourself right. You might be building up a product or service that you're not 100% sure of yet, but if you package it right in the market will embrace, and the market will show you how to grow with your product or service. So never ignore packaging. After packaging, I think place would be number 5. Now place is interesting because, and especially African companies, I feel like they've not mastered the art of place in the market. Place is where you sell your product or service. A lot of us get comfortable with our local location. You don't go the extra mile to figure out how can I export my service or how can I bring people to me. So if you can have entrepreneurial mindset that keeps on gauging what is the best place for me to sell my product or service, right? So for example, we have an upcoming masterclass next month, the usual one that we have in Karen. But right now we also have a diaspora edition. So we are having global people from all over the world coming, attending the masterclass. You have to figure out how you place your product or service. For example, also we have clients, right, across Africa. We have clients across globally, right? And the one difference that I'm noticing right now is how our different clients take on the element of place in the market. So for example, we have a client that is somewhere by the countryside, somewhere in Siaya, yeah, and they have this beautiful, nice getaway place. And here's the thing, for the last 3-4 years, we've won them TripAdvisor's Traveler's Choice. And this is because we didn't limit them because they're in the countryside and figured you're a resort in the countryside, then that's where your market lies. No, we figured there are people globally who are looking for getaways. So that could be an ideal getaway. And over the years, they've actually managed to have clients globally. It's called the VIP Hotel Madeira. And it's because you can't limit your product or service to a specific location unless it's the kind of business that has to be constant there. But as someone who has an entrepreneurial mindset, you have to constantly ask yourself, how can I get my product or service in every single place possible? And right now we have the power of digital, so you can leverage your product or service globally if you strategize well enough. And it can be as simple also partnering with someone on the other side, but then you figure out, how do I ensure whatever I'm selling gets on the global stage? So that would be place. Place can literally determine how much you make, because once you are you're intentional about place, you get to realize that the economies of different places in the world work differently. So you can find you have clients, let's say in Africa, yes, which performs pretty well right now in business, but you can measure with other world powers, right? Like we have clients in London, yeah, we have clients in UAE. You find that those clients, because of the economic power of those regions, you get to earn even better because those clients pay in euros and they pay in dollars, right? So for me, place was a game changer once I hacked it. If you can hack place, you really wouldn't struggle with revenue, and you wouldn't struggle with selling. It could change your life completely. But most entrepreneurs think small. We have to change the trajectory of business in this continent, and you can only do it by starting to think big. The other two would be positioning and people. I'd love to talk about it, but I think my time is wrapped up. Guys, come for the masterclass. Yeah, the one in Karen is happening on 21st of September, and the diaspora one is a week before, on the 14th of September next month. So you'll find the booking details somewhere. Cheers, guys. Let's meet then. Let's discuss more. Let's scale each other in business and also in energetics. Cheers.